Hey y'all, I'm Claire.
And I'm Avery.
And we're both a part of the Wide Horizons group at the high school.
I'm also a part of cheer and dance at Washington Dance Studio.
And I'm a part of the volleyball team, and I'm also in BPA.
Today, we're going to be talking to you guys about landforms and the bodies of water.
So, pause right here for 5 seconds, and what do you think a landform is?
Okay, so now that you guys paused the video, we're going to actually tell you. So, landform is a natural feature of the Earth's surface. Some examples of these.
You can find mountains in Colorado or Utah, hills just about anywhere you go. The Midwest is best known for its plains. You can find plateaus in California or Arizona. The Grand Canyon is the best known canyon. You can find cliffs in California and valleys in between mountains and hills. So, which ones do you think that we have here in Kansas?
In Kansas, you can find hills, plains, cliffs, and plateaus. So pause here to tell your teacher the differences you notice in each landform.
If you said hills, plains, cliffs, or plateaus, then you were correct, because we have all of these here, and they all have special names.
So, what do you notice about all these funky names that these landforms have?
Okay, so if you said they're probably all stand for something either in the landform or named after the place that they're located, then you are correct. Because some names are the High Plains, the Flint Hills, Osage Cuestas, and the Ozark Plateau.
So, if you were wondering why it's called the Flint Hills, because there's obviously hills, and all throughout the hills there's this rock called flint, which is super cool.
Okay, so these are the Flint Hills that Claire and I were talking about. As you can tell, they still have hills in them, but they're super flat. Okay, and then if you're wondering, this is the Flint Rock that's all throughout the plains that Claire was talking about too earlier.
Okay, and then we have the High Plains, which is also kind of based off of its height because it actually developed from another landform that we don't have here in Kansas, but it's called the Rocky Mountains. But they never developed into mountains. Instead, they just developed as plains.
Have any of you guys been to the Rocky Mountains in Colorado?
Okay, so now that we've talked about landforms and what they each look like.
Okay, so before we switch to talking about the bodies of water, these are the high plains that we were talking about earlier, just so you can see the visual of what it looks like in Kansas.
Okay, so now that we've talked about landforms, we're going to talk about bodies of water.
What do you guys think a body of water is? Pause here for 5 seconds and then play the video to see what it is.
Okay, so a body of water is an accumulation of water in one place, which could be like Tuttle Creek Lake or even the ocean.
Okay, so some common bodies of water are...
This is a river, and one of the most famous rivers that can be found is the Mississippi River. This is a pond, and you can find them just about anywhere you go. This is a lake, and as you know, we have Tuttle Creek Lake and Milford Lake right next to us. This is the ocean, and some of the most popular are the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. This is a stream and can be found by any moving body of water. This is a glacier and can be found in Antarctica. Do you think that we have all of those in Kansas?
If you said no, you're right, because we don't have all of those here, because our climate and environment doesn't allow for that.
What's climate, you may be wondering?
Climate is the weather condition that happens in an area or over a long period of time.
Okay, so now that we know what climate is, what kind of bodies of water do you guys think we have here in Kansas?
Okay, so here in Kansas, we have what's most commonly rivers, ponds, and then what I think is most abundant here, which means a lot of, is lakes.
Some bigger bodies of water or more well-known ones we have here are Lake Shawnee, Council Grove Lake, Alcove Springs, and Kansas River.
This is Lake Shawnee in Topeka, Kansas. This is Council Grove Lake in Council Grove. This is Alcove Springs in Junction City. And this is the Kansas River. So if you look at bodies of water in Kansas, there's a lot of lakes that pop up. I think that we can assume that these are very popular throughout our environment.
The bodies of water are kind of the same thing as the landforms, which they all have special names, but these ones are more named after the places they're in versus what's in the land or like in the body of water. Because you wouldn't name it like a fish lake or things like that.
Okay, so what have you guys learned from this part of our presentation?
We hope that you guys learned that there are very many different types of landforms and bodies of water everywhere. It's just based on states' environments and the location too.
We also have learned why things are named certain names, and we've learned what a landform is.
We hope you guys learned a lot and that you're able to show your teacher all of the things.
For further knowledge about bodies of water, refer to the end of this video.
About 70% of the surface of the earth is ocean water, and it's divided up in 5 parts from biggest to smallest. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic.
I'm the Pacific, to be specific. I'm a third of the Earth's surface where my turf is, and my Mariana Trench is the very, very deepest in the sea.
And I'm the Atlantic, named after the Greek god Atlas, with the Bermuda Triangle and the Gulf Stream in me.
I'm the Indian Ocean, I'm the warmest around.
And I'm the Southern Ocean, where Antarctica is found.
And I'm the Arctic, the smallest and the shallowest. But that's fine, you see, I've got more ice than you've ever seen. Even polar bears walk on me. We're the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic.
One more time.
Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic.